All right, Twin River side tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
All right, busy night tonight. We're going to forego all that is happening in Turkey and beyond, and Washington and all of that, because as I have whined a little here on this program, we have been sans the Twin River perspective on what is a billion-dollar battle here in the state of Rhode Island over gaming operational and facilitation rights. And we have a big boss at Twin River to discuss the situation with us this evening, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So if you don't mind, we're going to get right into it, and thank you for tuning in. So it all began, in terms of the public saga anyway, when we are going to, according to the governor, keep IGT around. Now listen, a little background. IGT has what is called an economic development deal, at least that's how they want to describe it. Of course, it began in 2003 with Governor Don Carcieri. He made an arrangement with IGT, well, then GTEC, a homegrown company, to stay in Rhode Island and produce the lottery stuff and the slots, as you mistakenly call it, the VLTs, the machines that the lottery runs in Twin River houses, in exchange for investing. And they built the downtown building and promised 1,000 jobs. And so the governor, on notice from IGT's now parent company in Italy that they wanted 3.5, 4 years worth of lead time to re-up their deal because that's what they think they needed, struck a tentative deal with IGT to continue, at which time we began to hear the burp from Twin River to say, hey, what about us? We can do it. And it's caught a lot of people at the General Assembly, and more importantly, or more succinctly at the time, the governor's office somewhat by surprise.
This isn't the business they're in, and this is the third biggest source of revenue for Rhode Island. I think it would be incredibly risky to turn over this to a business that has zero track record in it.
Marc Crisafulli is one of the big bosses over there at Twin River. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you aboard. When did this start?
It started in the spring, late spring. We found out from the governor's office that they were exploring doing a deal with IGT that would give IGT 100% of the slot machines at the facilities. And we thought that was a very bad idea and expressed that and encouraged them, if they were going to do any kind of a deal with IGT, to keep them at the 50% that was done back in 2003, not change the law, and that would address our concern on the machines. As you know, Dan, you follow it very closely, the machines are 79% of the third largest revenue source. Over $300 million a year flows through the machines, and both Twin River and the state have exactly the same financial incentives and interests around the performance of those machines.
You originally went to IGT with a request to have a larger piece of the action.
So that's only after we couldn't get any traction with the governor's office on just keeping it 50%. And we went and sat down with them and said, we think we need to have a three-way partnership here. There's enough room for everyone to do something that works and for us to really get together and focus on how it is that we can compete with Massachusetts and Connecticut.
Meaning you wanted a piece of their action.
Well, that's one way to say it. Another way to say it is that we first started off saying, just don't give it to them and let other companies come in. And they insisted on getting 100% of the action. So they wanted it all for everything. 100% of the lottery, 100% of the VLT, 100% of the machines. And we said that was untenable. So then what we next did was said, because the governor's office was intent on doing this, we went to the governor's office with a series of proposals that said, we can create significantly more value and still do this. And then because we didn't think this kind of a fight would be in anyone's interests, I did go sit down with IGT and said there are lots of ways to structure this in such a way everyone knows 100% or 85% is commercially unreasonable, right? They can't even do all those machines themselves. So they become the gatekeeper for their competitors' machines. And that was one of our fundamental problems. Dan, the best machines out there in the world right now are Aristocrat. They're number one. IGT used to be number one. They're now second or third in every category. Everybody wants Aristocrat machines. They're the best, okay? We've gone 5 years at Twin River and Lincoln without getting a brand new Aristocrat machine. It's a real problem for us. We need to be able to compete with Massachusetts and Connecticut.
And who's providing Aristocrat?
IGT decides when we get Aristocrat machines.
But Aristocrat's produced by?
Aristocrat.
Meaning that's its own.
It's its own company. They're a $14 billion global organization.
So what happened in that discussion with IGT?
They said they weren't interested in doing anything with us, that it wasn't our business, and it was their corporate position that under no circumstances could Twin River get anything.
Wasn't your business, in the sense of mind your own business, or wasn't your business not your specialty?
No, it was mind your own business. You guys are food and beverage. We are the operator with the state.
You're a former executive at IGT.
Yeah.
Left there, what, in 06-ish?
06, yeah.
06.
And they're great people there.
Personal tensions?
Well, of course now, not at the time. I mean, look, one of my best friends over there, we tried to work out something that made sense for everybody.
Who would that be?
Jay Gendron. He's
Okay.
terrific. He runs the lottery and he's outstanding at what he does.
Right.
And, right? So Jay and I, when we finally decided we were just going to be battling, we're big hockey fans together. We said, all right, it'll be like a hockey series and we'll shake hands at the end and I'll be fine. Hopefully he'll be fine, but...
It is a little bit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a little difficult, I think, for members of the media and certainly the general public to try to figure out who the good guys and the bad guys are in this situation. I've characterized it as a kind of mercenary battle for the money, and we'll see who wins based on who tells the most accurate story or can give the most credible projection. You guys are throwing somewhat of a Hail Mary pass here in that you don't have any track record in that portion of the business that you're trying to accumulate here.
Agreed, but we have strong partners. IGT needs partners to do their deals well, so I'm not sure why it's a different standard in both. But you can partner for things like this very effectively. And IGT partners with people all around the globe in exactly this manner.
Bob Vincent has been here already. He's the chair of IGT, and he said this about capability last time he was here.
This is military-grade security. You're issuing a ticket to somebody that could be a bearer bond for $1 billion with the way lotteries are running right now. It has to be perfect. We've made our reputation and grown this company by providing the integrity and security that lotteries need to do this. If you're going to go out to bid and say, oh, we can do that too, and raise your hand and say, well, we'll bring in people to do that, I just think you first should look at it and say, what's wrong with the system we have now, extending what we have now, keeping the economic development benefits that we get from that agreement, and making sure at the same time that it's a market-driven agreement for the state.
Got to be careful, and sometimes I forget to introduce audio properly. There are two conversations going on here. Mm-hmm. One is the floor.
Yes.
At the two casinos, which have been great partners, by the way, in the state, no doubt, and the largest source of non-taxable revenue. So it's this weird thing. Nobody wants to get too angry at the operators of our casinos right now for maybe biting off more than they can chew, because we still want you to be able to chew, because we need your digestion system here, right? We need to live off of that. But the lottery itself, remember, IGT provides the the dominant floor business, the VLTs, and then just the lottery tickets. Yeah. Right. And as I suggested, one good screw up there, the governor's UHIP dilemma will look like a nothing burger compared to not being able to cash a lottery ticket. And some of the partners that you were talking about have had some challenges with that. That's a track record issue, correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's a track record issue. I think you're being fed some information that's competitive because
I'm
IGT is
reading stories in the respective newspapers, like in South Carolina, where Intralot, by the way, are they all ending in lot? Camelot,
I think so.
Intralot, can feel somewhat
Dan,
Shakespearean
listen,
in nature.
I hear you on that. But
They had a multi-million-dollar screw-up in terms of tickets cashed and purchased and all that kind of a thing, and Dan, any nuance of trouble with that hurts your credibility.
Okay, they run 13 states in the United States. 13. Okay, they're not a fly-by-night operation. 5 times they've converted an IGT system to an intralot system. Okay, 5. They're all fine. Illinois, where IGT got bounced because they couldn't meet the performance standards, Camelot and Intralot came in. Illinois is 12 times the size of the Rhode Island Lottery. It's running beautifully. It happened very recently, and it is far exceeding the performance of IGT. IGT's system was down for 5 days in New Jersey. This is why you run a bid process, to determine the qualifications. Intralot has 5,200 people around the globe, and they run 13 states. I think these concerns are a little bit exaggerated. Let's go back to where we started in this conversation. Okay?
Hold on. Sure. If we go back, we need to give you some running room. We'll come back and talk about where we started. Stay with us.
Intralot is the third player in this market. They are the third tier. States are passing on them. Jay Gendron, our chief operating officer, testified that there were 3 states that could have saved $10 million if they went with Intralot, and they passed because their technology is that questionable. They were just bounced out of South Carolina. They were just disqualified as a potential bidder in Florida. And so beyond the press releases and the sound bites, we would encourage lawmakers to take a good, hard look at Intralot.
Bill Fisher, talented spokesman for IGT and other entities here in the state. By the way, we joke with all you executives that if you haven't hired a PR or some kind of lobby flacky at this point, they are not hireable. Period. I mean, have you cleared the deck? I mean, is there anybody left on the bench out there?
There might be one or two, but
holy mackerel!
It's crazy.
It is crazy because there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of
No
profit
question.
at stake here for your parent company and for IGT. You said you wanted to go back to a beginning, so go ahead and take a couple minutes.
Just remember, this all started, we were told that no one would bid, so Twin River said we'll bid. Then we were told no one credible would bid, so we partnered with Camelot,
Who said no one will bid?
the governor, and IGT.
And so you said, oh yeah, we'll bid,
Exactly
as
right.
opposed to we want to bid from the get-go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we came because there was a deal that was already done that we had to compete with. But look, I heard the Bill Fisher quote. The governor disagrees with him. The governor said point blank many times, there are 3 companies that can do this well. There's only one that we prefer, the local one, okay? But that there are 3 companies that do it well. 13 other states agree. I already told you about Illinois. Intralot runs the Irish lottery as well with Camelot. This is competitive stuff, and a legislature isn't really set up.
I think the 3 companies you're referring to are the technical companies, not the...
That's
not-
Intralot's one of them.
Not the, well, Intralot is not necessarily one of the... It's a marketing company
No,
for the
that's
most
Camelot.
part.
Intralot
Camelot's
is
the-
one
okay,
of the
okay.
3.
Camelot is the marketing company.
Right?
Intralot is the technical company.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so it's one of the 3. Everyone acknowledges. Now
Why,
Bill Fisher,
why is Camelot in the middle of this sucker?
because Camelot is brilliant at marketing and growing revenues and running all of the other aspects.
You guys are no good at it?
No, we could do it, but why not bring in an experienced partner that does it around the world, that
And-
runs the UK lottery and Irish lottery and everything else? We could do it, but we think this is a much better offer.
Camelot, Intralot are integral for what part of this? The floor games at the casinos or the lottery
This
itself?
is the lottery itself. This is lottery systems and the VLT central system. And by the way,
Well,
you know-
I think people don't
Yeah.
seem to understand that the VLT central system is a lottery system.
yes,
I mean, the table games are your deal. You
Exactly
know,
right.
Blackjack is your situation. But I don't necessarily see, as a layman, maybe I'm mistaken. I don't necessarily see the VLT business and the lottery ticket business, the stuff that the lottery runs outside of the casinos to be the same necessary business.
They're not, and they shouldn't be linked. That's our fundamental issue. We're looking to get into the lottery side only because it's all bundled, right? No other state bundles it like this. If you didn't have 85% of the machines being bundled into IGT on the machine side, which is what we care about, we wouldn't be involved with
And
the
they're
lottery.
bundled for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe convenience, but we have a constitutional conversation going on that only the state runs.
Yeah, but that's not related to the
don't-
contract with IGT.
Well, the lottery terminals, because the terminals, I think people get confused over this. They think you run and own the terminals. When
Right.
they go and they bet, they're not thinking about it. You are a commissioned salesperson, really, to run the lottery terminals. I see why they're wrapped together, but I do see a fundamental difference between the 2 technologies and the 2 operational issues and
I agree.
performance issues. So it may be at some juncture a wise decision for government to take a look at splitting the atom here and taking a look at them separately. And that's something that you seem to smile over.
Absolutely, that's our whole issue.
Would you be out of the lottery tickets outside the venues of Tiverton and Twin River? If you were able to get more of the action inside the buildings, would you forego the need to run the lottery?
Yes, and we've always made that perfectly clear.
The profit that you're projecting from running the lottery is what?
It's exorbitant. Okay, IGT is being overpaid about $300 million on the system side.
That number keeps getting thrown around, and nobody seems to be able to understand
I
why.
can explain it to you very quickly.
You can. Well,
Yeah.
maybe you should talk to Blake Filippi about that. Run this cut. This poor guy is running the Republican side of the General Assembly, and he's on the radio yesterday with a press release that had 6 good questions, including stuff about this.
Twin Rivers teamed up with Camelot and Intralot, and Intralot is a big company, but it's been stated that they can't even do this. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's something we need to resolve. We've just had so much conflicting testimony before the House Finance Committee.
You suggest that you can make an easy explanation as to why IGT's deal is $300 million fat to a person at the General Assembly, no matter how many hearings we've had so far. They still can't explain it to themselves. So here you go. You have a chance to be, do a Sesame Street routine on me right now. Explain to me why they're $300 million
There are a number of different ways there to get there, but I'll give you the most simple one. The administration testified that the right comparables for us to look at are West Virginia and Delaware on the system side, both systems, okay? State of Rhode Island pays IGT $26 million a year for both systems. Delaware pays $9.6 million for both systems. West Virginia pays $10.8. 26 minus 10, let's call it, is 16 times 20 is $320 million.
And how many employees does IGT have in those 2 states?
Okay, I don't know, but that's a different question now.
But that's where the economic development deal all got tied together.
I understand, but are you,
Unfortunately, state governments, beginning way back with Don Kateri and prior to that, and continuing, and I hate it, are paying for business.
Yeah.
State governments are paying for business. The Raimondo Administration Economic Development Plan, which I hate, is targeted to incentivize businesses rather than creating fertile
But
ground.
Dan, let's be clear on that.
This is some of the same kind of thinking process.
Yeah, but IGT will not admit that. They say these are market-driven prices and there's no premium for the jobs. They are crystal clear about that. And that's the problem, and that's a fundamental problem we have. Why do you have to pay $300 million for these jobs? Maybe you should only pay $200 million for them. Maybe you only need to pay $100 million for them.
And the difference in those in that 300, 200, 100 million is it will be manifested in what? Where do we see the manifestation of that savings?
You see it in a lower rate on the systems. Okay, you see it by our upfront money. For the same deal, they've offered $25 million upfront. We've offered $75 million upfront. So that's $50 million worth of cold hard cash we've offered to the state right off of the bat that they can put to education, infrastructure, whatever. Dollar for dollar, even. Right? We've solved the issue on being able to bring together a partnership that can do it. Okay? Intralot does 13 states. Now you're into competitive wrangling or whether they're the best or not. IGT is not $300 million better than anybody. Okay? We want to try and solve the machines. We've guaranteed the jobs. We'll create them. There's so much fat in this deal. We can create the jobs. And we put $100 million at risk that we would create the jobs.
Where?
In Rhode Island.
I get that.
Yeah.
Where? What? Take over the building?
No. We have.
Because if over time, with the 3.5 years left on their deal, they decide that they're going to exit stage left at some juncture, say in 2024, at the expiration of their current deal. What's your 3, 5, 7, 10, 15-year game plan?
I'll come back with the whole plan in a second, but you brought up a great point yesterday, which was they're not just going to pull out 1,000 people, okay? The best part of their company is North American Lottery, run by Jay Gendron. The reason you move jobs is because you can pay those people 25 or 30% less. You're going to have to sacrifice all of that outstanding talent and fire them to go rehire somewhere else because you're not going to get them to move, number one, and they're not going to move for a pay cut. So the company's not going to save anything, and it's not going to destroy its cash cow. In terms of our plan, we have a detailed plan on how we create the 1,000 jobs, and it would be from day one, and we have $100 million that guarantees it. We create about 100 jobs to service the contract. Twin River Worldwide Holdings has almost 5,000 employees right now.
100 jobs to serve as a contract. They say 60 are required.
Close enough. We think it could use a little bit better service, but in the range of reasonableness, 60 to 100, fine.
Could use, or you need it because you don't have the expertise to pull it off?
No, we want to service it better. I mean, Dan, I'm sorry. That's like you're
just asking.
Yeah, no, it's That doesn't have anything to do with expertise.
It's a big disparity in the local project, 60 to 100 jobs. I mean, they say 60, you say 100. That's a big gap for, you know, just the limits of that Rhode Island contract.
Okay.
It reflect, well,
Yeah.
I'm just paying attention. It seems to me that I would like to know what the mechanics of why they say 60 and why that. You know,
So they say
100.
60 to 65, and we're not sure we believe that number. It's a good number for them because it maximizes their leverage on how many they can pull out.
Which is why this whole thing is so difficult for everybody, because nobody knows what to believe about what number. We'll wrap up with the boss at Twin River next. Stay with us. So again, this headline reflects the Republicans saying, "Help me, help me, help us, help us." Process here. We really haven't dug into the no bid, you know, the claims. The advertising has become really acrimonious on both sides on this particular issue. The word bid strikes a little bit of interest in the electorate, right? Because post 38 studios, everybody thinks everybody's getting screwed by every deal worth more than $1 at the General Assembly, and so you're striking a chord there. It seems to me that if I were the governor, I do this a lot every once in a while. You know, I think, you know, if I were the governor, I would I'd get you in a room, I'd get Vincent and Gendron in a room, I'd get Taylor in a room, whoever else needs to get in a room, and I'd say, don't come out until you get a deal.
I think that'd be a very reasonable approach.
This just do not come out until you get a deal.
Yeah.
And tell me when you need me. And then I'll come in and I'll tell you if I can do what you guys agreed to.
It just makes too much sense.
Don't you
You're
agree?
absolutely right. I 100% agree.
So you don't. So the idea that you have to have a bid is not a non-starter necessarily, and maybe not a red herring, but altogether not necessary. Because guess what? You've had two no bid deals renewals to host the place. By the way, how would you like to have a little bid deal on how to host the place?
So let's talk about that just for a minute,
Yeah,
Dan,
we only
very
got a minute,
quickly.
so go.
Okay, super quick. Anyone else could have done some of those deals if they wanted this. Someone else could have bought Newport and moved it. We had to go to the voters 4 times. People tried to do a Harris Casino and they failed.
You've done a good job.
But
so what? So have they.
But now
So
there's a
what?
competitor stepping up, and there was no competitor then. Right? No one else stepped up in any of those other circumstances, and we're here with a real bid.
So somebody comes in and says, listen, I would like to bid the operations at Twin River and Tiverton, and you guys go, oh, you can't do it as good as us. We're experts in the whole situation.
You have to compete for it, but they wouldn't bid our Tiverton rate. They'd have to come up with a plan to build their own and go to the voters and all that kind of
The
stuff.
point of the matter is, the bottom line, do you support the GOP's request for a consultant of the General Assembly generates on their own to get this thing done? Because they don't seem to understand what's going on.
I certainly think they should go further and just put it out to bid, because that's the only way to really know.
Going out to bid would be a byproduct of the
Potentially,
analysis.
it's a good step in the right
direction. It
direction.
wouldn't be bid first. No, it would be study first and decide whether to bid.
Except that so I agree with the study. I think they should do it. I think it will prove insightful. But the study is trying to project what would happen in a bid, and market forces actually tell you. And the only way to really know what the premium is to bid it out and see what market forces bear.
I do think that the governor, once again, is toe in the water here and needs to get everybody's head in the same room. By the way, would you like to share the set with Mr. Vincent, and we'll work this whole thing out together?
100%.
Be happy to have that. Appreciate you finally coming.
Thank you, Dan.
And we'll keep the dialogue going on
Sounds
both
good.
platforms. Marc Crisafulli from Twin River. Final word when we come back.